Hey y'all, I just want to come on here and just make some clarifications regarding Mortal Kombat. I have set this all up now so we can go through it, but I made the comment that Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis was the version that you didn't have to input a code. Well, I was incorrect with that. It turns out that in order to have the blood and the fatalities and all that stuff in the Sega Genesis version, you do have to put in a code. I'm not sure that the Super Nintendo even gave you the option to have a code. I do remember that the Sega Genesis version was the version that people wanted to play, um, and it was because of the fatalities and all of that. Mortal Kombat came out in the early 90s. It was kind of a um, schoolyard talk that it was a very violent, bloody video game. In fact, it ended up in, I believe, the Senate. There was a hearing regarding violence in video games. Um, and Mortal Kombat was brought up as an example along with Night Trap. Um, and that's where the ratings here in the States come from. Um, I mean, personally, I did play these games when I was a kid, my cousin and I mostly, but really enjoyed them. Sub Zero was my go to. I'm not good at these games by any stretch of the imagination. I haven't played this game in 30 years, and I'm just now doing so again just for footage. Um, but they were a lot of fun. They used a lot of animatronics and a mixture of live action people. Goro was a big thing. If you ever watch the behind the scenes of Mortal Kombat, it's a very interesting thing to learn about. They just did such a good job bringing this to life. It was way ahead of its time as far as technology goes back then. It's definitely up there, and a lot of games ended up emulating the style of Mortal Kombat. One of them that comes to mind for me is Eternal Champions, which was another Sega Genesis game. It didn't have the fatalities like Mortal Kombat did, but it had something else where you would just have the character stand in a certain spots, and if you finished them off on that spot, something would happen, like they'd be thrown into a fire pit, or a dinosaur would come out and eat them, or they'd get electrocuted. Mortal Kombat, this very first one, doesn't have very many characters. Very minimal roster, and I think people were upset that Kano and Sonya were not playable in the second one. But as far as I know, most people do consider, and myself included, the second one to be the superior version of Mortal Kombat. In fact, I would go as far as say out of the original trilogy, it's my the second one is my favorite one. Um, my go-to characters on this game have been Sub-Zero, Raiden, Scorpion, and I remember just talking in the schoolyard a lot about the hidden character, Reptile, and how you were supposed to get him. There's a special pit stage where it'd be rumored, oh, if when Santa Claus flies over the moon, you have to do a certain move, or um, something along those lines. And he comes out in the game, just giving you little hints as to how to go ahead and find them. Um, this one, for some reason, it doesn't work on. Oh, maybe it does a little bit, but definitely one that I would go ahead and pick up and play. You can find it very cheap nowadays, even complete in box, the original one. However, if that would be if you're a collector. If you're just wanting to play these games, I'd highly suggest Mortal Kombat 2. Or they are doing Atari's doing a compilation um, on the PS5 and the Switch. I pre-ordered mine. It should be out, I believe, in December. Um, and it includes all of the old Mortal Kombat games, one, two, three, the arcade versions. Now, that's something else that was a big thing back then was the arcades. And the arcades did have the better graphics back then. You didn't have like the PS5s and 4s and all that to be able to get the high quality graphics. You'd have to go to the arcades to get something even slightly better than this. There was a lot of fighting games in those days that were a lot of fun. Another one that I would recommend would be Primal Rage. Um, Like I said, Eternal Champions. There's another one that people talk about called Time Killers. Ooh, there's that fatality. I haven't had the chance to play it. I do have that one. But anyways, I just wanted to come on here for a little bit, just make that clear about the Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis does need a code with it, but it does have the fatalities and everything as you just saw. And it's definitely a game that I would recommend picking up. So tell me about your experiences with the early 90s and all of the scares that people had with video games and violence, because that was definitely something that was present in my household. You know, you can play these games, you can't play those games. But just a quick video just to go ahead and check up on you guys and find out what do you guys think of Mortal Kombat? Do you prefer one, two, three? Do you have certain characters that you gravitate to? And what was that like if you did grow up back then during that time frame? Anyways, signing off until the next time.